All right, we got you guys in here today. Thank you for your patience there. It's funny, I started playing some slow chill music here. So I'm going to take my glasses off too so I can see my eyes through here. Um okay, you guys, welcome to everybody that is on the call today. I've got the chat open, so it's ready to go. I've got the Q&A open as well, and we've got people flowing in here. So we are in good shape. So I guess the last thing is I just realized looking behind me, I don't have my lights. Let's turn my lights on. All right, there's those. And we got the green ones back there. There we go. Perfect. Okay. I just want to say thank you so much for all of you that have been participating in these calls and have been attending these calls. I really, really appreciate it. I really want to share value into this community and into this industry. And so what I want to do too, I want to make sure I let all of you guys know, those of you that attended and are on my attendee list of any of the days, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to attend all the days, but if I see your name on the actual attendee list from here that attended live, those recordings will just be given to you guys automatically. If you guys already paid the $27 as an attendee for those recordings, let me know. And we could put that towards coaching, or we could just discuss and figure out what works best for you in that situation. But I really wanted to give that as a benefit of people that actually are attending live. Those that didn't attend live, they will have the option of purchasing the recordings so that they can have access. But those of you that have showed up and then made that effort and sacrificed some of your time and gave me some of your time, like that's huge, right? Today's focus is time. And I understand and I know how valuable time is. So I wanted to cram as much as I possibly could into 5 days because I know your time's valuable, my time's valuable, and we all want to work on things in our business, in our life, and all the things. Anyway, just wanted to give that as a favor, or not a favor, but as like just a nice thing for you guys. I really appreciate the support, and I am so excited to jump in today. So we are going to open up my presentation for today. I hope you guys are ready. This one's pretty fun, I think. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I really love putting these presentations together. It's so fun because I have like 7 years of corporate marketing experience and all through college as well, and advertising. And in my years in marketing jobs, I can't even tell you how many presentations I've built over the years and how many things. And it's always been one of my favorite things to do. So anyway, I have fun building them, and they're always a good time. So, okay, we're going to jump right in. As a little bit of review, just for the last few days. Day one, we talked about mindset. I pulled this slide in yesterday when we were talking about pricing, but I think this is a good overall slide reminder of, hey, if you want to grow your business, let's start working on that mindset and move you to a growth mindset where you're taking action towards your goals, even though it's hard and uncomfortable. But that's how we get growth, is being able to go through that. We talked about marketing on day two. You guys remember that day. If you didn't attend that, since you are attending one of the 5 days or whatever, you'll have access to this and you'll be able to listen to this past video. The marketing and pricing videos, I can't even calculate how much value was put in there and how many years or how many just hours of experience that went into the stuff that I shared in there. So I hope that you guys are appreciating that. And obviously today, we're going to go into this with time, and with the whole process. You need to find the path for you. I mentioned this on the first day. I don't have all the answers for everybody. I just don't. I have a lot of things that have worked and a lot of things that I have seen work, but it's all about seeing what works in other people's businesses and what doesn't, and then being able to know yourself well enough that you can figure that out over time. And it might take you a while, like really, and not to be discouraging at all. But for me, and other people's journeys are completely different, but it's taken me 10 years to finally get to the point with my business that I'm like, I know exactly what I want to do for the rest of my life. Like, I want to coach and help people. I want to help people grow their businesses. I want to help people believe in themselves. I want to help people feel good about themselves and push themselves and be proud of what they put their time into each day so that they can have maximum enjoyment of their life, right? Everybody wants enjoyment. Everybody wants that satisfaction of safety, of what, all those things. I want to help people get to that point for them. And that's finding that journey for you guys. So yesterday, really quickly, before we go into time, I missed one principle from the pricing that these two slides didn't get in there. And I'm not sure what happened, but I put them together. I got them in the right place, but I'm going to go over this really quick. So yesterday we talked about all the pricing. So we're going to quickly go through this. This is in addition to what we talked about yesterday, is how much do I charge for delivery and setup? Because you'll notice and remember from yesterday, we never talked about delivery or setup. So I just want to stress this. I would charge this separately and then break down your costs. Next time you bring a delivery, and try to figure these things out, or before you go take a delivery. A lot of these things you can figure out before. So look at this. You've got what you want to make sure you're covering in your delivery cost at minimum is the cost of your gas. So it's the travel distance to and from the location. So cost of gas, the travel time to venue, and then the setup time. So what does that setup time look like? I don't know about you, but if you're in the wedding cake business, back when I did hundreds of wedding cakes from 2015 to 2018, I put a lot of flowers on cakes, like every single wedding cake, pretty much. And so I would be there for at least 30 to 60 minutes, setting up, putting flowers on, all those kind of things. And that's not just a free service, like that's part of what you're doing. And usually the discussed price, since you usually don't provide the flowers, and if you do provide flowers, make sure you're charging all the extra stuff on top of that, because you arranging flowers on the cake should not be included in the price of the cake. I hope that makes sense, because that's completely separate, right? And then travel time home, and you put all that together, and then you decide, like, what is your time worth? Like we talked about yesterday, is it $20 per hour? Is it 15? Like how do you value your time, or your employee that's delivering the order? How much are you paying that employee to drive the company car or their own car, which I'd suggest company car if you have a bigger one, so you don't have liability issues with insurance stuff. But how much does it cost for them to drive that car to and from and set up and everything? And then the cost of gas, you're adding to the delivery time and your all labor, and then the wear and tear on your car. I usually just say, hey, $3 to $5. You could probably do some deeper calculations there. And maybe a tax person would tell you different. So don't take my advice on this. There is like a per mile kind of like tax deduction that you can get when you're doing your taxes in a business, if you're like using it for business purposes. So what I would say on this is you have your minimum delivery charge. If you want to charge a little bit extra to kind of give you some cushion, and as well, this is another area that you can pad in a little bit of profit, right? Let's say it's a minimum charge of $58. This is an example from Provo, Utah to Salt Lake City. It's about 45 minutes, takes 41 minutes to drive there. And you could look at that and say, okay, $58 is minimum of what I have to charge. But for instance, for me, when I did wedding cakes, I charged $100 delivery charge from Provo to Salt Lake City, because I lumped in there all those other things and then added some profit on there, because I always want to pad just a little bit, because as you know, with most orders and most things, sometimes things don't go exactly as planned. So it's nice to have a little bit of padding here or there, because if it gets eaten into, then your profit's toast, right? So you'll recognize this from yesterday, but then I added a couple things. So what you're going to do, is you're going to get your cost of cake, cost of dessert, cost of catering job, cost of overall order. You're going to choose your profit percentage, however you choose to break all that down, which turns into your retail price for the customer. Add that delivery cost that we just talked about, and then that's your final price to the customer plus tax. And you can choose at that time whether you have, like, whether you discuss with them, like, you pay half up front or you give me a $50 down payment. But I would suggest that you get all payment before the day of the event. I would suggest at least a week or at least 2 weeks before the event, especially when you're in weddings or big caterings or those kind of things, because you don't want to show up at a wedding. This is something I did wrong 10 years ago when I first started, is like showing up to weddings with a wedding cake and then following around everybody and trying to track down who has the right credit card to pay me or who has the cash in their pocket or whatever. And it was just a complete mess. So what I would suggest is sending them a payment link before and allowing them to pay it all up front, right? Anyway, that's what I wanted to go over that I missed out on yesterday. As a reminder, if you haven't listened to my podcast, my 51st episode came out yesterday, and it's an amazing one. So the founder of Dirty Dough Cookies lives here in Utah, and I interviewed him on my podcast, and it came out yesterday, and it's incredible, you guys. It's really, really good. There's so many good nuggets of joy and wisdom in there. And then for my Facebook group, so the Make More Dough Facebook group, right now it's called the Mighty Baker Business Circle Make More Dough Facebook group. Eventually that front part will get dropped off because I'm branding everything with Make More Dough around my coaching and around all my business focused things. So if you haven't joined that, go join the Facebook group because there is a lot of great value in there that I'm going to be providing. Okay. That took me a little longer to get into, but I just wanted to make sure I covered some of the things we missed out on yesterday. So time is one of those things, right? It's one of those things that we're always saying, we don't have enough time. I don't have enough time to do everything. There's too many things on my schedule. There's all these things. And oftentimes we're like making excuses or complaining or being overwhelmed or just kind of confused about what to do next. And then we just don't do anything, right? We end up on our phones scrolling and doing competitive research on other people in our industry, seeing what they're doing, but then we're not doing anything. And so sometimes we get in those areas where like, how can we manage our time? Because one thing I've learned over the years and focused on is I've noticed, and I surround myself with these types of people, like my coach that manages his time well. And he's taught me so many strategies that have helped me so that, because if you want to grow a business, like whether it's a bakery business, whatever your dream is, right? Whatever your dream is. And I'm not necessarily here trying to tell people, hey, go open up a storefront. No, I'm not actually. Like, I'll be the first to tell you to not do that first and do plenty of testing before you decide to do that. Prove your concept tenfold before you're going to go drop, $100,000 on a storefront in hopes that once you open it, people are going to come, right? You got to do your front end work and your marketing and your pricing and your mindset and all those things, because you put in that work beforehand, you're going to save yourself a lot of time. Yeah, there's a lot of time front loaded, but if you don't put in that time in the beginning, you're going to suffer later because you didn't figure it all out, and you're going to find yourself in a really stuck place. I found myself in that stuck place very quickly when I first opened my first bake shop. And the one big lesson, just from like an overall like time standpoint, and this is where I'm going to try and slow down my voice a little bit, and I apologize. Sometimes I get so amped up, but this is an important point because our lifestyle, for the most part, is very go, 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 go. This, onto this, go, 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 go. And oftentimes we never slow down to actually just like enjoy life. Like, enjoy the fact that like we're alive. Like that's incredible right there. Like the odds of you being a living person, a living human right now is pretty amazing. So just stopping and being grateful and looking at the sunshine, and like our song in the beginning, it's a lovely day. You can wake up every day, even though things may feel like are falling down all around you, right? Because there's those moments in your life where you're like, everything's just ramming down on me, boulders, whatever you want to describe those as. But if you can just slow down for a minute and just take a breath and just think of how amazing your life is. Even though I understand there are so many hard things. I'm in a very tough situation right now overall, just trying to figure out quite a few things right now in my life. But from my business standpoint, I show up because I'm the CEO of my business and I'm trying to grow something. And even though things may not be going the way exactly how I want sometimes, or if I try out something in my business, maybe it doesn't work. You guys know exactly what that is like. Just slow down for a minute, especially if you get in those places where you feel just confused or overwhelmed. We'll get into this in a sec, but oftentimes I'll be sitting here at my computer in my office and just feeling overwhelmed with everything going on. And I'm like, I don't have time for all this. I can't do this. But what I've noticed is I'll go outside, and my daughter laughs about this a ton because I'll go outside in my front yard for like 10 minutes, take my shoes and socks off, and go stand in the grass or sit in the grass and just feel the grass on my toes. I know that sounds so funny, but I was telling my daughter the other day, yeah, I go out in the grass and wiggle my toes in the grass every day. And I do because I love it. It allows me to get outside and soak in some sunshine and be grateful for whatever I see, right? And just enjoy the moments. Okay. So slow down, like Mr. Slug here. I know he's kind of gross looking, but I thought this was the funniest picture, so I had to pull this up. But life overall, enjoy the journey. I know that's such a cliche kind of thing, and like, oh, well, don't get so frustrated, enjoy the journey. I know, and that's so frustrating when people say that sometimes when you're not really happy. But really, if you can just stop and enjoy what you're going through, because sometimes we live our life in hopes that once we get there, we'll have this. Once we get this, or once we open our store, or once we do this, and once we do this, we'll have joy. Don't wait. Don't wait for happiness. Don't wait for joy. Don't wait for satisfaction. Like, make it happen in your life. Like, you can actually do that and enjoy your journey. And it takes a lot of awareness and it takes a lot of personal work to get there, but it's worth it. It's work worth doing, figuring out what you value and what you want to spend your time on in your life. And so enjoy the moments. And one thing I love about the word moment and in your business, and we'll get into some time strategies here in a minute. It's just a thing that I really love this. And the word moment, right? When I see moment, I think a moment in time. Think about some of the precious moments in time that you have, whether that's in life or whether that's in business, whether that's a success in your business, whether it's a failure in your business. Slow down in those moments, because inside of every moment, there's some kind of learning or some kind of thing that is there to help you grow or learn and become a better, stronger, mightier version of yourself. And enjoy those moments too, especially moments that are good. Like, if you have a win in your business, go celebrate by yourself. Like, I did that just a little while ago, as I had a celebration with myself. I went and drove down the road and got myself a burger at a restaurant because I had something great happen in my business. And I'm like, I'm going to celebrate this today. And so I went and drove down the road and got myself a burger because I love burgers. And I was like, that's what I need. That's what I need to just help me move on to the next moment. But with that said, I wanted on the opposite side of that, obviously, like, we all want to do things in our life and those kind of things. So stop waiting for the perfect time to take action. The perfect time is now. So obviously, like I said, maybe obviously, like, slow down, but don't be so hard on yourself and second guess yourself so much that you're just waiting for the perfect time. Well, right now is not right. Right now is not right. Right now is not right. If you get caught in that, you might never do anything, right? If you're always waiting for the perfect time, then you may not get there because you're always waiting. You're not taking action towards that perfect, that thing you're trying to work towards. Take control of your life. I know this is hard because many of us, we have other responsibilities, right? We have families, we have spouses, we have extended family, we have responsibilities, we have volunteering, like all the things that just overtake our life, soccer games, baseball games. And then on top of that, we're trying to grow a business on top of that. But remember, you can take control of all those circumstances in your life. It's your choice of how, like, this is a very important choice right here, right? It's like, do you choose to be a victim of all your circumstances in your life and be like, oh, I'm just busy, I just can't do it right now? Or do you flip the script and say, oh, I actually can take control over that? And, sometimes as you take control and you try to flip that script a little bit, sometimes that brings up tough conversations with yourself and tough emotions and those kind of things. But if you want to grow something in your life, you've got to start the process and take action. And every action, whatever the result of that action is, whether it's the result you want or not, because sometimes you can't control the actual result because sometimes you're putting it out there. But in every result, there's an answer or more information that you're going to need to make your next decision and your next step. So that's from a time standpoint. Take control. You're actually in charge. Time's not running out. Time is right in front of you. And by implementing systems and strategies in your life, those can save you so much time in the future. And I get it. I sometimes and often for many years, like, I don't use my time very well. And this quote is a good one, is time is what we want most, but what we use worse. William Penn. And I think about that, and I think about, it's funny, I talk about systems and strategies, and I mentioned this here because when I first, about probably, I think like 2 or 3 years ago, I was a pretty anti-scheduler. I was not a time manager. I did not manage my time. I just kind of went with the flow, And I have learned over many years that maybe that's not the best strategy, and that I can actually take over my schedule and actually create time for myself by actually following and creating a schedule for myself. So let's look at, we're going to look at this a couple different ways. And when we get to time management, I want to stress this as well, that every single one of us has to figure out what works best for us. There are numerous different strategies when it comes to time management, and we'll get into a few of those, but we're just going to talk about 5 pretty simple ones. But then there's hundreds of them, and basically the lesson behind this is, if you're like me and you're kind of anti-time management, like, just pick one thing and try it for a week. Pick one thing, just one simple thing, instead of being like, oh, that's too much, I can't do it, and just shut down. Just pick one thing to take action on. Okay. So this slide right here is, overall, how do you spend your time, right? Do you spend your time over here like this guy, just kind of confused or not taking action because you're unsure and you haven't built your confidence up, or you're not confident in your product enough, and so you're just shying away and not doing anything, rather than putting yourself out there and taking action, even though it's hard? Because when you take action, you're doing experiments in your business. You don't know how they're going to turn out. So that's putting yourself out there, putting your product out there, and you're putting yourself in a vulnerable position. So it's easier to stay over here in the confused, overwhelmed standpoint because it's just an easier place to be. Taking action where growth is hard. It's uncomfortable, but that's where all growth in our life and our business comes from, is by taking action towards our goals, towards the mightier version of ourselves, and then being willing and know that things aren't going to go exactly the way that we want them to. And then we're going to learn on every step. And it's not an easy one. I've been on this journey for a long time. And that is why I'm in front of you right now as a coach, and why I even built this business, because it's something that's so needed. It's something that's so needed on how helping people, how can you spend your time a little bit better? Because I looked at my time, and this is where I was really shocked. I'm not going to share all my numbers, but I'll share a couple thoughts here. But try tracking how much time you spend each day on different tasks. And it really will shock you. If you were to spend 24 hours, just the next 24 hours, and you were to write down, or the next week, whatever, if you want to get a lot of data to work with, right? Because data is our best friend in business. And that could be your own personal data that's sitting right in front of you. And part of that is how you currently use your time. Because before you change up your time and how you manage it, you have to know how you're doing it right now. It's back to the awareness. It's pattern recognition. It's pattern awareness. What do you do right now? And what does that look like? How much time do you spend doing all the things in your life, right? And we're going to break down a few things in a minute, but how much time do you spend? And I was surprised when I did it, and I still surprise myself, and I have to keep myself off my phone often, because I sometimes will find myself just scrolling on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or those kind of things, and it just sucks time out. And granted, I've tried to switch it around where if I get all my work done and all the things that are done, then I can allow myself to, kind of just have fun and look at my favorite creators and find out what they're doing and what's going on in the industry and different other industries that I'm really interested in addition to cakes and bakeries. I have a ton of passions. But some of the things that we spend our time doing suck so much time out. And I guarantee if you were to track your time, you could find little windows of opportunity and windows of time when you could work on your business. Might not be convenient. It might be an uncomfortable time. You might have to wake up early. You might have to stay up late. You might have to mess with your schedule, make some sacrifices. But if you want to make something happen in your life and you want to make a business happen or a creative project happen, you got to get up and do it. You got to get up and take action towards it every day in some way. And it doesn't have to be huge, but it's just consistently taking action towards rather than pushing something aside. So time is money. Learn how to manage it effectively. This is a lesson that I hear people talk about all the time. And I know some of you out there, some of you have maybe tried scheduling before, and this is exactly what I said. I want to be completely open here. So when I, this was 3 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago, actually. And I was going through my life coach certification, right? And we were going through time management, and we were talking about scheduling and all those kind of things. And when we learned about it, I was just I just don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I believe in this stuff. There's no way. It seems like so much work. I've tried it before. I've tried so many things. That was my excuse. And I really did. I tried so many different things. But the thing that changed for me was the mindset piece and understanding that not every way of scheduling is going to work for me. And I have to find what works for me. And so that's where we need to get into testing. And that's going to be my biggest advice for today, getting into time scheduling. And it's a little bit easier to hone in on this, when I'm working one-on-one with clients, right? Because then I can sit here and say, okay, tell me what's going on. How do you spend your time? How are you doing this? And we can break down and really hone in on specific catered suggestions that you can try out, and we can dial much more in that way. The other thing I'm going to say too, oh, we skipped one. Also, I'm going to say, if you already have a scheduling system, those kind of things, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? If you already have a system in place that works, by all means. Like, I'm not here to try to tell you that my way is better than yours or whatever. You probably have some things that you could share with the group that could help us all, right? Like, that's another reason why I've started this and start my Facebook group. I want the interaction, I want the communication around, because we all have answers for each other, right? One of you in this group may have an amazing scheduling system for your bakery business of how you get everything done that you could share with other people, or you could share maybe one piece of it that could help unlock something for somebody, because we don't need to spend years or hours or months like stuck on a problem in our business when we could just, ask somebody, right? So we're going to go through just a few of these today, and then this probably take about 10 minutes, and then we'll go over some questions. So a few strategies for your consideration. Number one, and here's my reminder again. Experiment with different strategies to find the ones that work best for you in achieving your goals efficiently and effectively. Okay. So the first one's prioritization. Make a list of your tasks and prioritize them based on their importance and urgency. I often like to go down this list and put check marks by the things that have to get done. Like, they're urgent, right? They have a date or time sensitivity, right? That's going to push that to the top of the list if it's a time sensitivity standpoint. But there's some things that are on your to-do list that you're not going to get to sometimes, right? So however that looks like, because what I want not to happen for any of you is, like, when you go to bed at night, I don't know if any of this happens for you, but sometimes I'll lay in bed at night and I'll be like, oh, I didn't get everything done that I wanted to. Why didn't I do that? And just so frustrated about it. But there's a different way you can go about that, because, like, you did everything you could. You're at the end of the day. You can't change anything in the past. The only thing you can do is learn from that moment and look over your day really quick and say, okay, well, why didn't I get it done? Oh, was it because when I got a flat tire, I ran out of gas, whatever it may be, right? That comes in the way, but at least you can reframe that and say, okay, and I'm going to try better tomorrow, because we get to try every day, right? We get to do better every day, and we get to learn from our experience. So here's some helpful tips that I like, is when you're scheduling priorities, have some baseline minimums, like just things that just need to get done, or non-negotiables, whatever you want to call them, right? What's your baseline minimums? Like, and for me, you get to choose where these things go for you, but me time is like numero uno, right? Like, what does that look like? Could look like going on a walk. It could look like going to the gym. It could look like I go to do a cold plunge often, and I do all sorts of things, going on all the things that you would do that help you, because self-care, number one, that's one thing that I learned from the last 10 years. I put self-care as like the bottom of the list, and I have suffered from that. So make sure you take time for yourself. Take care of yourself so that you can show up in the areas in your life. You are the most important. If you don't take care of yourself, you're going to shatter, you're going to fall apart. You got to do it. And then, of course, we have our responsibilities, things that have to happen. And then things like kitchen time, business time, social time, leisure time, those things that you can schedule those and break those down, right? Break those down into what does that look like for you? What is me time for you? What are responsibilities? What are your business time? What needs to be done? And I put business time and kitchen time because don't get stuck in your kitchen, you guys. You got to be spending. I'm not going to tell you how equal or how many percentages or those kind of things. You got to figure that out for yourself of what that works best. But don't forget to work on your business and not just in your business. That's a huge one. When majority of my time in my first bake shop, I got stuck working in my bakery. And so there was a lot of things from the business side that suffered because I was sucked into everything. So that's just something to put in there, is make sure you're working on your business. And in the beginning, when you don't have employees, you're going to have to do both. And you're going to have to put in extra hours. You're going to have to do all this as you're developing your systems and processes. And it's going to be messy. It's going to be a messy learning curve and a process, but you can do it. You just got to keep taking action day by day towards what you're trying to work towards, and you'll figure it out. And you'll grow that confidence, and you'll build the momentum that you need to grow what you want in your life and in your business. One way you can do with time blocking, so understanding how long each task or each item or each activity actually takes, so that you can block it out on your schedule. And I usually break these things down into, what does that even look like, right? Like me time, meditation, responsibilities, job, family. I'll go through that kind of quick. And you'll have access to these slides too, by the way. Those of that attended will have access to these slides so you can look through them in the future along with the recordings as well. Next one is goal setting. Clear goals, not just setting just this huge goal, whatever, but be specific. And even if it's a huge goal, maybe it's a 5-year goal or like a year goal or whatever, don't just have these big overarching goals, because oftentimes we get so overwhelmed because there's so many tasks within that huge goal that we just quit before we get far enough, right? So my biggest suggestion from a goal setting standpoint is set your goals, set your goal, and then work backwards from the goal. All the steps that need to take place in order to get yourself there, because it's not just do this. There's probably like 100 or thousands of actions that need to take place before that actually can even happen, right? So making sure, and also time bound too, but don't get hard on yourself. It's nice to have a time on a goal, but it's not there so you can beat yourself up about it, right? You can be responsible, right? And be respectful of yourself and your goals and your time, but having a time bound goal, it'll help push you. And then you keep reevaluating every day. And sometimes you have to shift a goal. It just happens, right? So be flexible. Don't beat yourself up about anything, because that's not what it's about, right? It's about learning what works best for you and not comparing yourself to other people and where they're at in their journey. It's just focusing on what's the next action for you. And then delegation. I know this is hard if you don't have employees, but we talked about ChatGPT and AI and plenty of software programs that you guys can utilize that can help systemize some of your things to save you some time. Eliminating distractions. Anytime you're trying to get, especially working on your business, like on the computer, doing social media, doing important tax things, whatever it may be, eliminate distractions. Put yourself in a room, turn your phone off. There's great little focus settings on at least iPhone. I'm sure Android has it too, where you can do focus settings and you can turn off all the things that are in there. So in our few days here, you guys, it's funny because, I was looking at my board back behind me, make more dough 5-day webinar. And how do you make more dough? Well, I wish that it was the most simple answer ever, and I could just be like, hey, here you go. This is exactly how you have to do it. I wish I could do that. But the way that you can make more dough inside and outside your kitchen, right, is by cultivating a growth mindset, adopting a marketing mindset, employing a pricing strategy, implement time management systems, and focus on what you can control by taking one action at a time, and then learning from each failure and success. Remember, get help if you need it. Get support if you need it. There are plenty of business coaches out in the world, right? There's plenty of them. I'm a business coach. If you need help, reach out to me. I work with clients one-on-one on all of these things that I just listed here. And we work on it one-on-one, talking about how we can help you get to where you want to get, not where not where I think you should go to. No, like I am here to help you structure your dream, to structure your life and structure what you want to put together. And I'm just here to be an open book and share everything and give you insights on what you can do. So I also want to say, before we do Q&A, I said these yesterday, but what is standing in your way of growing your business to the next level? What is it? What is the very next action you'll take towards your business goals? Maybe write it down. Write down what is your very next thing you're going to do. And as I mentioned before in past calls, please, if you want to fix some of your problems and discuss some of your things you have going on in your business and you're ready to jump in and bring your business to the next level, schedule a discovery call with me. It's free. I'll send the link. You can also get to it through my website. I'll actually drop it into the chat. I'll try to do that here in just a sec. But you can find it on my website as well. And I'll definitely include it in the email afterwards. And with that said, oh my goodness, I can't believe that it is day 4 and we're like almost done with this. So thank you so much for all of you that have attended this. I really appreciate it. Please pop any questions in there that you guys may have. And it doesn't have to be time related either. It does not have to be time related. But a couple reminders as I see before I get some questions in there. Oh, and I love it. Yeah. Good morning, Terry. Kim, you're welcome. And oh, Becky, that you just got on. Maybe you missed my important thing that I said a few minutes ago if you just jumped on. So everybody that attended live on any of the days, like even if you attended one of the calls for like 10 minutes, it'll be on my record and my report that you attended live. And I'm talking to all of you here. And so what I will do is I will send you guys the access to the presentations as well as the videos. So any of you that attended will get those for free. So I just want to make sure you guys know that, because I want to make sure that that is something, because you guys gave up your time and I really, really appreciate that so much. So as you can tell, I'm very passionate about what I do, and hopefully that comes across. I have had quite the journey as a baker. I started my bakery journey in 2013, and I have struggled, I have fought, I have successed, I have failed, I have all the things. And the biggest things that's made a difference for me is I decided to hire a coach like a year ago, and he's helped me so much in what I do. And my last plug before, and please drop in any questions in there. So let's see here. Let me look at the time really quick. 12:45. Okay. So I want to talk about tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow, Friday, is 1 hour, and I might have like 3 or like 5 like slides of a few things that I want to talk about. But really, tomorrow is all about you guys. All about you guys. So please bring in any question. I'm serious. Any question you can. I think you can submit them as anonymous as well. If it's a question that you don't want to have attached to your name, like seriously, like I would love to answer any questions you guys may have when it comes to bakery business, when it comes to mindset, when it comes to marketing, pricing, time, any of those things. And as well too, like real questions to the lines of like, what would you suggest like that I do in this situation? And also, I'm going to have some questions for you guys in a small little survey to send out, just a couple questions, because I really want to get feedback from all you guys as well, because I want to know how valuable these webinars have been. And I want to know as well, like, what else? What else do you need? What else do you need, or the industry needs in this way? Because I'm here to create whatever you want. Like I'm here to create whatever is going to be most valuable and help out this industry and bakers and everybody. And I have a lot of great connections to build things. I just want to know what's needed. What do you guys want in regards to like coaching and helping you in your businesses, because let's face it, you guys, we can't do it alone. We can't. We need support and we need help. So anyway, reach out and join our Facebook group, because I provide free value in there all the time. If you put questions in there, I drop in my thoughts. So, okay, Brittany, awesome. Good to see you today. Let's see what your question is here. I noticed you're using Canva. Is Canva Pro worth the cost? I'm finding I am using it more and more, but I am having a hard time justifying the $120 a year as a newish home business. Well, obviously the finance piece, you're just going to have to look at your finances. For me, it is the most worth thing ever, because you can do so many things in there. And and also within Canva, they have some AI kind of magic tools you can use in there as well. And it makes things so easy. Over the years of using like PowerPoint and Keynote and all the different places in my marketing jobs, by far, Canva outdoes them all, because it has like stock photos, it's got cool little captions, it's got so many things. But as for paying for the Pro, like I would just look at what the benefits of that is and what features you're going to use versus what you're not. Because I had a Canva free account. I believe those still exist, for a very, very long time. And you could probably get by with doing that for a while, I would imagine. But if you have any other specific Canva questions, shoot them over. I'm kind of a professional at Canva. I know so many things in there. I love it. I use it for all my social media ads. I use it for like everything, so many things. And my other thing that I use a lot, for social media, actually. So Canva is like a lot for my website and some things for my social media. But when it comes to like my daily reel videos and those kind of things, I use CapCut. That's what I use for my editing. I used to just edit everything inside of TikTok and then use that video, but then it has the watermark on the TikTok video. And I know there's watermark removers and things, but I've found that CapCut has some really cool options when it comes to just making your videos look unique. I know I'm going off a little bit on this, Brittany, but that just spawned this thought. That CapCut is where I produce everything, and then I use that video and then put it into all of the other platforms, so it doesn't have the watermark, and I can choose music on there. So okay, so we got that one. Oh, Becky, I love that. Yeah, like that's a good idea, actually. And that's something that, like, if you have a couple people or something, you can totally do that. And if you have a friend that has it, they may be able to give you access for a little while to like allow you to be able to utilize it. That could be another way to do it as well. But I know it's hard to justify some of those costs as a new business. And it's sometimes hard to choose, like, what do I need and what do I not need, right? There's a lot of those things in your business that, like, it's tough sometimes, like, and especially too, if you ever open up a storefront bakery, beware, because the minute those doors open is the second you get bombarded, like absolutely bombarded, by every city organization, every elementary school, every soccer team, every basketball team, every football team, everything wanting you to do sponsorships. And you're like, I'm a new business. Like, I can't afford to do that. And so what I did is I chose like one out of the like 12 requests, because I didn't have the money to do that in the beginning at all. And so anyway, that's kind of a funny thought that just came up there. If any other questions, please pop them in. Other than that, I'm happy to keep chatting over here. So, oh, there we go. What helps you know you're ready for a brick and mortar? Oh, I love, Susan. I love, 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 love this question, because, you know, I would not change any of my journey, right? Because I'm here in front of you with 10 years of experience operating my bakery in every possible way I could ever think of. And I'm here saying, I have a good answer for this, and you can take it or leave it or whatever you want to do. but I wouldn't race to have a storefront. You got to make sure it's worth it. You got to make sure you got to run your numbers, business plan, run your numbers, double check, triple check, look at your break even points, look at how much it's going to cost to run your bakery every single day. How much is it going to cost for labor to run? How many employees do you need every single day? How much is it going to cost? It's a big cost. And I'll tell you right now, my brick and mortar shop, my first one, we had break even costs each month of just over, I'm not going to say exact numbers, but just over $20,000. Okay. So $20,000 per month that I had to pay and make money to break even, which means making all the payments on all my expenses, right? When I had my cake creation studio, my do-it-yourself cake and cupcake studio, that place, our break even every month was about 14 to 15 grand. And it kind of fluctuated between 13 and 15 grand every month. So you need to know what those points are. Like, how much product am I going to need to move before like I can actually make that a profitable situation? Because obviously when you first open a store, you're not going to make any profits on that store for at least 2 or 3 years, because you're going to be paying off debt. You're going to be paying all your things and reinvesting, because you can't grow your business if you don't reinvest some of those profits back in the business, right? Like we talked about with pricing. So, and really, and another thing I would recommend too is, so what helps you know you're ready? This is a big answer to your question, Susan. Sorry, it's a very involved question, which is great because it allows me to just kind of jump in here. But I would do 2 things. Number 1, well, maybe 3 things. Understand what that looks like. What kind of work does that look like? Number 2, go and find a bakery in your town, or find somebody that you know that runs a bakery, or ask a coach like me or somebody about what it was like and what their learnings are, right? And what they can help impart on you. Because once you open that store, you're likely going to be, 100 grand plus in debt. You're going to have all these costs and everything. And so when you're ready to open one, is what I would say, operate from home or wherever you're at for as long as you can, until you're like bursting at the seams, or until you know that you have a customer base that can support you on an ongoing basis. Because when you have a storefront, you produce all these goods and then you have to do it again the next day and the next day and the next day. It's not like you're offering things once a week or those kind of things. It's a daily thing. And you got to figure out a lot of your systems and operations so that you don't get overwhelmed too quick. And then all of a sudden you're in over your head and you're like, whoa, I didn't know about this. So I would go and even volunteer in a bakery, or go work for a baker for a day, or say, hey, I really love your bakery. My dream is to open a bakery someday. Can I just come like shadow you for a week, or shadow you for a few hours and ask you a couple questions? The worst thing is that they're going to say is no. And then you move on and ask somebody else. But it's going to be most valuable if you can get yourself into the environment and talking to the people that are actually living the life that you want to move towards, so you can know, is this for me or is it not for me? That's my suggestion there. Sorry, not time related. Oh, Michelle, don't worry about it. It's just fine. Don't be sorry. But do you recommend a supplier for packaging, boxes, containers? Yeah, there's a supplier down in California. And I believe it's called Whalen Packaging, WHALEN, Whalen Packaging. I would look up them, because they do a lot of things. Also, you can look at uline.com or webstaurant.com. So maybe I should type these in here. So webstaurant.com. And I probably spelled restaurant wrong. I don't know. Webstaurant. I think that's how you spell it. But do the search. It'll come up for you for sure. Uline is another one. and Wayland Packaging is another one. Wayland Packaging mainly does like cake boards and all those kind of things, but you can create accounts for all of these for free. And you can create the accounts, and some of them have higher shipping than others, but most of them can get you stuff within like a day or two. Like it's amazing. And there's even some ingredients on webstaurant.com. You can even order like full on big restaurant equipment on webstaurant.com. So, and they have like sprinkles and tools and all sorts of things on there. So you guys, thank you for attending. I really, really appreciate it. And please come tomorrow to the Q&A. I've got a couple fun things that I'll be adding in. And as well, just want to answer your questions and see what's going on for you guys, and really be able to dive into some questions. So think out some questions, write them out, even if it's like 2 or 3 questions, and maybe if it's 10. And if it's, depending on how the group goes, you might be able to get all your questions answered, right? I'll take them as they come, first come, first serve. And I'm going to try to get through every last question that comes through tomorrow. So please make sure, and I'm not holding back on any information, you guys. So please, please, please jump on tomorrow, join us. And other than that, have a fabulous day. Like I said before, join our Facebook group, listen to our podcast, and have a mighty day. See you tomorrow for our Q&A. See you guys.